What's up guys, Damien Bentley here. We are doing another episode of Meathead 101 where we are going to go over the best ways to put size on your chest. We're gonna be going over how to bench press and best ways to bench press to add strength and size to your pecs. So guys, before we get started bench pressing, we wanna properly warm up the shoulder and rotator cuff. This will help you keep your scapula engaged and also prevent injury from happening to either rotator cuff on either side. I know most people know the two basic ones, external and internal rotation, but we're gonna go over a few more movements to actually properly warm up the rotator cuff. So since we're doing a press, we wanna externally rotate and then punch out to the side. While doing these movements, you want to have a good firm base. Make sure your core is tight. Rotate and punch. I like to do it with a little bit of an explosive rotate and then punch out. And then same thing. Instead of just a normal internal rotation, we're gonna engage the scapula. So what we do, it's gonna look a little kind of awkward of a movement because instead of just rowing and internally rotating in, we're gonna do it as one movement. So we wanna plant our feet, keep that core tight, and just squeeze it in. So we're moving the hand and the elbow at the same time. Now, let's do the other side. Flip back around. And with this movement, we do want it to not be too far over to the hip. We kind of want to drag our fist straight towards our belly button while squeezing that elbow into the side. And now we're all tight in the back, so when we can properly set up and bench to keep our scapula nice and engaged, and our rotator cuff has a lot of blood pumping through it so we don't injure anything when benching heavy. So with the bench press, I commonly see a lot of people do a wider grip with their form, and it's not something that you want to engage unless you're doing powerlifting. And still, even then, in certain powerlifting leagues, now grabbing too wide is actually an illegal maneuver because it is dangerous for the pec. So it's not a good way to put on size for your chest. Anyways, even when going wide, it shortens the movement so you can finish the rep quicker, which doesn't necessarily equate to having bigger pecs. What you want to do is set up, determine based off the length of your arm, you want to determine where your grip placement is, whether you measure from the tip of your thumb, but I would say if you have bigger hands, you want to measure from the knuckle of your thumb, from the end of the knurling. main reason to measure with the knuckle of your thumb or grab index finger around the knurling is so that when you're bench pressing, your bicep converges into your pec, because then you will actually get a better contraction with your pectoral muscle. And also, you want a progressive overload. So we just did a little warm up, a little bit of movement. Now we're gonna go add some more weight. Now, like I said, in this video, we're going to be going over adding strength and size to the pectoral muscle. So we're not going to be doing a lot of high volume. We're going to be working in a lower rep range area to put on more strength as well as size at the same time. Hypertrophy training helps you gain size, but doesn't help you gain a ton of strength in a shortened period of time. So aiming for a lower rep range, like 8 to 5 reps, is where you will gain significant strength over a shorter course of time, versus hypertrophy, 10 to 15 reps, is going to help you gain adequate size quickly, but not tremendous amounts of strength. So here we're just gonna do 8 reps, and then we're gonna go up again because of vertical progression. Like I said, now we're gonna go up in weight. We're gonna be aiming towards that 5 rep range now. This is where progressive overload gets a lot harder. Aiming for something where you can do 5 reps can be considered a little bit dangerous, just like powerlifting, where you're trying to do 1 to 2 reps. But you want to determine what you can move and how safely you can do it. So you still have to be able to push yourself and kind of lead into a more dangerous aspect of lifting without getting injured. We're still going to take a second to breathe, make sure we're not too winded before we start this set, so we'll actually be able to move it for 5 reps. And we're also just making sure that we feel loose and fluid, nothing's too tight. If you're feeling really tight and your mobility's not good, I would not do this style of training. That is probably the best way if you're aiming to build strength and size, that you want to focus on your chest. This is hitting the primary area of your pectoral major, so it's going to put a lot of strength on your body because of all the tension from the overload. And that, guys, is how you bench press to put on size and strength.